Okay, welcome to our project for Henri Matisse, the great French colorist. And we are going to be doing a project with paper cutouts. And here are a few examples of some of his work. Really cool, big giant compositions using paper. He would cut them out and arrange them into different compositions. So you see here, a big, huge example of a giant wall covering that he made. Beautiful colors. If you can see a few of these here, this is the one that we're going to base our project off of. It's a little hard to see, but this is called Beasts of the Sea, where he was inspired by the sea and created a bunch of different shapes. And we today are going to make Beasts of the Desert, since we live in the desert. So let's get started. We're going to need a few supplies today. First thing, we'll need some plain paper, but we'll use that later. We'll use glue sticks, but we'll use those later as well. Scissors, and we'll be using a whole pile of colored paper. We're gonna start with warming up. So everybody grab a piece of scrap paper. And the only thing we have to do here, the only rule, is to cut the entire piece of paper. If you're feeling warmed up, hopefully you're comfortable with the scissors. This is awesome. It doesn't have to be anything. Now, if you happen to see some shapes that you think are cool, you're welcome to keep these. Otherwise, let's clear off our tables. Okay, so follow with me. Pick a color, and the first thing that we're going to cut out is a rock. So, cut out a rock in whatever color you want. Now a little tip, but he didn't feel like colors had to be realistic. He was all about whatever he wanted it to feel like. So if you wanted a purple rock or a yellow rock, it didn't matter. Okay, so if you've got a rock, beautiful. It can be whatever you want. Let's keep that. Now, let's make another thing that we might find in the desert. Kind of a desert theme here. Let's do a cloud. Okay, we're gonna make a cloud. So pick another color or the same, doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. The third thing we're gonna make right now is a cactus. Pick a color, any color that you like, and make a cactus directly into the paper. So now we have some basic shapes to work with. We're going to add more. So one of the things that we want to use, if you were looking at some of the things that Henri Matisse put together, he played with scale a lot. So pick one of your objects and make another one, but change the scale of it. So say you made a rock this size, well, make one bigger or smaller, or your cloud, or your cactus, or whatever it is, a similar shape. Now it's okay if it changes. And then also, like you're doing, we're also just gonna repeat some of them. So it's okay if they're the same size. We're just gonna do repeating shapes. Now is also a good time to make any other shapes you might want. So think about other things in the desert. Maybe a snake, maybe a coyote.
Does it have to be something from the desert?
You can do whatever you want.
This is what it looks like on the shrink.
That's awesome. That's great. So keep all of your shapes in a little pile. We want to have at least 10. The more the better, okay? All right, this is looking awesome. We've got a good pile of stuff to work with. Now you can keep cutting some shapes, don't feel like you have to be done, but we're gonna try a couple things. So we need to give ourselves a little bit of room here. And now take your white paper, one for everyone. And we're going to just practice composing your shapes in different ways. But what Matisse was really good at was imagining different ways of arranging these shapes. Because it doesn't have to be realistic, right? It doesn't have to look exactly like, oh, the clouds have to be in the sky or the rocks on the ground. You can make it look however you want. Okay? So we're gonna try something here. One of the principles of design that we're gonna use is called pattern, right? You've all heard patterns before. We have patterns in music, we see different things. In the book that we looked at earlier, we see a good use of pattern here, creating these little shapes, repeating those patterns throughout the page. Okay, so let's try making a pattern out of the shapes that you have. So that could be anything, could be with colors, could be with some of your shapes. Okay, let's try another one when you're at a good spot. We're going to try to create a balanced composition. So somehow represent balance. And let me show you an easy way to do this. Think about creating a balance between one side and the other. So that means if you had like one shape over here, you try to balance it out with another shape or two or three over here. Kind of feel like things are balanced. Spend some time arranging your different shapes, and then when you've got something that you like, or you can do it as you go, glue them down. So everybody grab their glue sticks and you can start placing the objects and gluing them down wherever you like, and hopefully put together an interesting arrangement. Now these can be whatever you want. They can be more realistic, you can put a little scene together, or they can be completely abstract, whatever shapes you want to put together. They don't have to necessarily mean anything. And I hope you have enjoyed this exploration of painting with scissors, as Matisse called it.